Flips hair, to be exact. Today we're welcoming in a Lillian Fuller, who is the owner of a hair and bundle line called Flips Hair, whose unwavering dedication to quality in all aspects of her business has carried the brand for the last 15 years. I mean, that's the goal, right? Longevity and consistency. But contrary to what I just said, we're not only talking about hair. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship. We're going to be talking about that recipe that is required for you to see a business continuously put out great products, to see a business last, to see word of mouth grow, and to see the impact that your product can have in different parts of the world, different parts of the states that you didn't even think was possible or you wouldn't have even thought about before. We're going to talk about what it takes to balance an entrepreneur mindset and mentality with being that corporate girly. We're going to talk about what inspires you to get started versus what keeps you going during those times that just, we know they're coming. Those times that get us. So, if you're interested in learning a little bit more, not just about hair itself and that industry and what it takes to actually run this kind of business, but also what it takes to run a successful and long term business that continues to thrive, this is where you want to be. So, pull up a chair, take a seat, and let's talk about it. Welcome in, Lillian.
Thank you. I am so excited.
Thank you so much for joining me today in the boardroom. I'm very, very excited for us to talk today just
Me too.
because I feel like you have such an interesting kind of niche that you're in. I've never met anybody who does exactly what you do. So
Really? Mhm.
like and been able to discuss it and kind of get down into the nitty-gritty with it. So
Mhm.
I'm very, very excited about that.
Awesome.
So just to kind of get us warmed up a little bit, tell me about where you are right now, what you got going on. What is life
Yeah.
looking like for you?
That is funny. Life right now is an adventure. I will say that. Currently, I am in a space of I'm in a space of pause with momentum.
Period.
An intentional pause,
Mhm.
basically not being as fast to react to certain things, giving a lot of thought to things. That's in my career. That is in my entrepreneurial efforts with Flips. This year will be 15 years for Flips. It went by really, really fast. And I kind of want to revamp how I'm doing things. I'm a mom. I have three boys that are all in three different stages of life. So not being so quick to respond to what they have going on. So right now, things are very intentional, but I'm enjoying every step of the ladder. Every step has a lesson and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good place to be in though,
Mhm.
especially just in a world where everything is so fast paced and so like
Right.
go, go, go. Just you can get
Right.
lost in the shuffle a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
So tell me, let's talk about Flip's hair.
Okay.
What got you into that? What even made you think, you know what? I love hair enough that I'm gonna start a business around it.
You know what? Nowadays, there are so many hair businesses, but back in
Mhm.
my day, like I'm an old lady, it wasn't that many. And I know a lot of people probably see me and they're like, "Oh, she probably did this big thing." No, ma'am.
Mm.
To kind of set the scene a little bit, when I graduated undergrad, I was like, what, maybe 9 months pregnant when I graduated
Okay.
undergrad.
Mhm.
And I had a baby. I had a brand new job, just trying to figure out things. And me and his dad, we just wasn't seeing eye to eye. And it got to a point where I felt like I was just always asking, always
Yeah.
asking. And when you first graduate, I can't speak for everybody, but
Mhm.
school of business, there's a lot of general studies type of things, and you just don't know really
Right.
know what you want to do, but you got
Mhm.
bills. So you're
Absolutely.
working, you are a new mom trying to figure that out, and then you're trying to navigate relationships. And it came to a point where it was like, look, I got this whole fabulous life in my head. I need to figure out how to get there.
Oh, yeah.
And I had some friends that was just like, "Just take some time for yourself. Just, start back getting your hair done. Start back getting your nails done." So I did that.
Mm.
And but Grace, you know me a little bit. I wanna do
Mhm.
stuff my way, right?
Right, right.
So I didn't wanna get
Mhm.
my hair done like everybody else. Like, if Imma start doing it, Imma do it, right?
Right.
So I met this girl, and she was doing hair, like, the sewing and weaves and stuff, but she would come to you.
Mhm.
You didn't go to her. And I was like, "That's different."
Yeah,
And we were both single moms, both figuring it out, and I was like, "I want some fabulous hair." Like,
yeah.
I'm not trying to go to the store, nothing against the hair store hair, that just wasn't for me.
Right. Hey,
And right. So I started, just kind of looking around and everything. And I had a friend that had been overseas for like
Mhm.
a work trip and was telling me, you should, look into that and, go straight to the source. And I just started digging around in my spare time. And it was definitely an answered prayer.
Yeah.
Because I had got to the point where it was like I just went down the rabbit hole with hair and how it does and all of that. And so with my motherhood and my personal life and just trying to pay bills, it had got to a point and I was just like, Lord, like now I'm trying to pour into me. That's
Mhm.
expensive. Show me
Mhm.
a way where I'm not always asking or not always wishing and hoping and holding on because, I want to be fabulous. And I did that little hair
Right.
flip and I
All
was
and every day.
right, and I
Mhm.
did a little hair flip, and I was like, "I like the way that feels."
Yeah.
So, I started the hair company. A lot of people don't know this, Grace. I don't think I ever talked about this, so this is an exclusive. When
Okay.
when we first started the
Y'all
hair
heard it here
company.
first.
Yeah, yeah. So, when we first started the hair company, we called it V and A because it was my friend
Mhm.
Bertis and me, Lillian, and we called it V and A, right?
Mhm.
Wasn't catchy. But every time I
Yeah.
would get my hair done, I would do
Mhm.
I would do this
Mhm.
little thing, right? And so that's where Flip's hair came from. And it really came
Oh,
from 2 single moms that was just like, "Look, let's see what this does, and maybe we can make a little money, and maybe we could." And it just grew, and it grew,
yeah.
and so many people came across my path because this was like 2010, 2011.
Okay. Okay.
So social media is starting to buzz. We had like a little Facebook page. We started a little
Mhm.
email account, and then Instagram came out. That was the
Yes.
game changer. I'm not gonna say it came out because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know exactly when Instagram came out, but it got popular around
Yeah.
2012,
Yeah.
2011.
Mhm. Sounds right.
And, when Instagram first came out, what made it so big or what made it so just different because everything was in your reach.
Mhm.
So I just started messaging people. I just started tagging people. If I've ever been a fan of you and you look like you wear weave, I would do it.
Yeah.
And I got so many celebrity clients. And
Wow.
yes. And that's what really propelled the social media following. And it just
Yeah.
kind of grew from there. And
That's
15 years
amazing.
later.
So I think what sticks out to me about, that part of your story and just even the origin is that it started organically,
Yes.
first of all. It
Mhm.
wasn't like oh, I decided I wanted to do hair because while I was in school, blah, which everything can,
Right.
organic is different for everybody. But for
Right.
you, it came from a place of not only just survival for you and your baby, but it came
Mm.
from a place of, I'm going to start taking care of myself. I'm going to
Right.
start pouring into myself in ways that, right now there's a big thing about being and acting like who you want to be, who you want to be in the
Absolutely.
future. And so you were investing in yourself personally,
Hmm.
and that inspired you to do something that ultimately was able to successfully support
Absolutely.
you, your child, and your life from that point on. So I think that that's very noteworthy in the story. Besides the fact that we're living in a world right now where Instagram is like one of the end all be all, and you're
Right.
talking about first started when it was just that little brown.
That little brown. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's too
And
funny.
it was just
So
pictures. It was just pictures.
yeah, that was it. No
No
videos. You had the
videos.
little filters and all of that. Like I remember it was still like that when I was in college.
Mhm.
Between 14, well, really early on, like 14, 15,
Yep.
16, it was still that way. You didn't start seeing pictures or videos and other kinds of content on there
Right.
until later.
Yep.
Mm. Yep. Thanks for making me feel old.
A girl, imagine me.
Needed that today. Thank you. So you're not a hairstylist though,
Nope.
right? Like you don't do hair.
I do not. I can't even braid. Like, no.
That is hilarious.
Yep.
So you just were like, you know what?
I don't do it, but I know I want beautiful hair, so I'm gonna get into
Yeah.
forcing
So
it.
when I met my at the time, my business partner V, she did
Mhm.
hair and I didn't know anything about it. Somebody had just referred her to me. So I'm learning everything. So as
Right.
I'm learning everything, I'm going down the rabbit hole. So
Mhm.
so I'm learning, okay, you braid the hair and then you sew it in. Like I'm literally green. So I'm learning
Yeah.
everything and I'm like, oh, so this is how we do. Well, where do they get that from? I'm just probably getting on her nerves, just asking a lot of questions. But I have snacks. So
Yeah.
we're doing hair, we're chatting. And
That would be a
oddly
good time.
enough, like I said, we were two single moms. So
Mhm.
I was the client. You don't have nobody to watch your kid. He bring him over, you know.
Yeah.
So it just
Mhm.
became we became friends. She ended up being the maid of honor in my wedding years later. But
Wow.
yeah, but we just became friends because two single moms who want to look good, who wants
Mhm.
to, figure it out and not really letting anything get in the way. So bring the boys, let's order a pizza and let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, so in me like figuring out this whole big world of hair and just
Mhm.
one person who's working a full-time job, who has a child, who doesn't really have the time, but I'm
Yeah.
seeing how important it is, and I'm seeing
Mhm.
how important it is not to have to buy hair every time you want to get
Yeah.
your hair done or get an extension or sew in. So I was like, "Let's just invest in the good stuff, show them it
Mhm.
works." And, what helped me was the fact that my customers didn't have to buy hair for years,
Yeah.
you know?
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
So you promoted not just quality for the
Mm.
sake of, "Oh, it's cute," it's quality for the sake of longevity
Right, it's
and
functional, like, everybody and this was me. I've always loved the world of hair. I never desired to do it. I
yeah.
guess because I grew up an only child and a girl, and
Mhm.
I have a lot of boy cousins. So, and Grace, you probably feel me on this. That nostalgia of going to the black hair salon on a
Mhm.
Saturday morning, you have
Mhm.
all those sophisticates black hair, and you have Jet, and you have Ebony, and you
Mhm.
have Hype Hair magazine. You have all this, and you're
The
just
pictures on the
yes,
wall.
the picture wall.
Mhm.
And you're just looking at all this stuff, and it's just great. And you know that feeling of pointing to that picture,
Mhm.
showing her giving you the approval, like,
That's
okay,
what I
we
want.
can do it. I can do it.
Mhm.
And then you get it done. But we
Mhm.
never thought about, I wonder what she gonna look like 3 or 4 days later.
Yeah.
I wonder what she gonna look like after she, goes to work, goes do this. So for me, that was an advantage. It didn't start off as a marketing tactic, but that's what propelled my business because it's like, okay, this is the person that could do it. This is what you need, like showing you exactly what you need to achieve the look and then
Yeah.
continuing to show you that it's functional because
Yeah.
again, it's Instagram. I can just post pictures. So I can take a selfie on my way to work. I can take a selfie with my son at the park. I can, it's up
Mhm.
in the ponytail now. It's curled, it's straight.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, okay. We really see that. And that just propelled. And now those are influencers. That's what they call them.
Yeah. I was just about to say I've been seeing a ton of think pieces
Hmm.
on what they're saying is, creators as founders
Hmm.
and utilizing the founders as the face of their businesses and of their overall brands
Right.
because it buys people in a
Yes.
lot faster than, me just putting out some random model saying, "Ooh, look at this
Right.
hair." It really is you become like that test subject. People
Right.
buy into what you're doing. I mean, you think about people like Rihanna,
Hmm.
if we're talking on an extreme level here, but
Yeah.
everything with Fenty Beauty that you see, she is the one that is putting it on, whether it was when she came out with her hair care products and she was walking around with her little
Right.
or, of course, Fenty Skin,
Hmm.
the all of that, the lingerie, everything,
Right.
and it's just funny that you say that was your mindset because
Mhm.
that's really something now that I think just shows there's nothing new under the sun, but that's something that people are circling back around to now and
Mhm.
doing a little bit more intentionally to see growth in their businesses.
Yep.
Super cool. So you said that, of course, your suppliers and stuff that you're
Mhm.
working with to get the hair are overseas, and
Mhm.
that information or just the light bulb for that went on when you had a friend that was overseas and
Mhm.
you came back. So let's talk a little bit about what, like, how you even manage that. Like, what's the
Girl.
communication? What? How do you even find one? Like, Well,
It
and you've been
is.
doing it for a long time, so I'm sure.
Yes, it is so trial and error.
Mhm,
And, I always say this like paint the scene. I graduated with a degree in business. By this time, like a year after I started flips, I graduated with my master's. So I
mhm.
started flips in graduate school.
Okay.
I was in graduate school. You're not really supposed to do this, but I'm going to tell you, you're in graduate school, you get those refund checks. And it was like, okay,
Mhm,
I'm gonna set aside some money
mhm,
to um reach
yeah,
out to these vendors that I've been
mhm,
speaking with, and oftentimes I could sweet talk them into some samples.
mhm.
Nowadays it's
I
a
believe
lot
that of you.
easier. Yeah, nowadays it's a lot easier because
Mhm,
you could show how many followers you have, and they want to give you samples. Back then
mhm,
you really had to convince them like, hey, I have a market here, but if I'm going to go with you, it's going to be the best of the best. So I would take a little seed money, and no joke, this is so funny because I haven't thought about this in years. The time change was the biggest hurdle.
yeah, yeah, I can
Yeah,
imagine.
and I'm really gonna age myself, but back then it wasn't WhatsApp and all of that, it was Skype.
Right.
It was
Yep,
Skype.
yep.
So,
Mhm.
I had an iPad. I had the very first iPad mini. Crazy. So
Wow.
and I still have it, by the way. It doesn't update, but I still have
I'll say it's
it.
working.
No, it doesn't
Why?
update. We can take some fuzzy pictures. But I had an iPad, and I would download the Skype app, and I would set my alarm. So by the time that I would put my son to bed, and he'll be 19 now, but back then he was like 5. By the time I would, like, put him to bed, I would get on Skype, and I would
Mhm.
hear the little tone, and we would just start talking. And keep in mind, my hair is done because they gotta
Yeah.
see that I'm for real.
Right, right.
So, my hair
Lady.
is done and we're just talking, and I would get them to just kinda bargain prices with me for samples. And I
Mhm.
had to be very strategic with the samples because I wasn't fortunate to be able to say, "Hey, give me every texture that you have. I want it to be from one
You
donor."
were
And
mhm.
because one donor means this is one batch of hair that you got in from one particular
Yep.
tribe or
Yeah.
one
Mhm.
particular depending on the time of year, it's more of a religious thing. And I'll be honest, I didn't really dive deep into that,
Yeah.
but where they sacrifice hair. So
Mhm.
here's a little tip: buy your human hair around the fall. That means it was harvested in the summer. Really good hair. But, I wasn't fortunate to be able to just buy up a lot of hair. So I had to be strategic when I asked for these
Mhm.
samples because if I would get it in and me and V would kinda look at it and do little stuff, I'm selling it. I gotta make my money back, right?
Right, right,
So,
right, right.
I would have to be really strategic. Some vendors I didn't go with, some vendors I didn't even offer to sell. So I have
Mhm.
pictures from back in the day. I can look at them now and say, "Oh, that was some sample hair we just didn't wanna
Yeah,
waste." So I put it
yeah.
in. But, the time difference was a big thing. Being very persistent, and really understanding that just because you're sitting in your familiar living room or whatever space that you're in, to conduct business, you are
Mhm.
representing a brand across the world. And there's a certain level of confidence you have to
Mhm.
battle more than just a price. You got to battle cultural differences.
Mhm.
I'm speaking with people where maybe the only place that they've seen a black female is on BET or
Yeah.
VH1 or
Mhm.
Bravo. No shade, but I don't know if you think I'm coming to
Yeah.
you like I'm a real housewife of this or that.
Mhm.
But you really have to be mindful of that. But you also have to be mindful that you are not only establishing a relationship, but this sample here, this might just be it. So you want to
Yeah.
be able to maintain that relationship and show them, hey, if you can give me this, I can sell it this quick and I can always, do orders for you. It
Yeah.
was eye-opening though. It really was because they not being, insensitive, but speaking
Mhm.
of the vendors that you're working with, pennies matter. Pennies
Yeah.
matter. And it really showed me how rich we are as a nation here because we will see people walk over pennies all day. They can look on the
Yeah.
floor and they'll say, "Oh, I thought that was a quarter. It's a dime." No,
Mhm.
not there. So I am like bartering down to the penny. It's crazy, but it adds up, and the
Yeah.
consistency adds up. And I think from spending that much time with them, it helped me appreciate the business that I got over here.
Mhm.
because, you're doing a sale. Your goal might be to get 10 orders one day. Well, maybe you get 8. But if you
Yeah.
notice that 5 of those 8s are names that you recognize, that's a win. That's a win. That's a repeat order. So that's what you had to be mindful of when you're establishing those relationships. It's late at night. You still got to get
Yeah.
up and do your normal job and be mom and be, working in this corporate space. But those investments at night were vital to your business. So you kind of had to go in with the game plan
Yeah,
and be focused and prepared.
for sure. So, eh, creating and building those relationships
Mhm.
took a certain level of trial and error.
Mhm.
You just being mindful that there are some pretty significant differences between the mindset or the
Mhm.
mentality, what you're doing. Like
Mhm.
they're selling this to you thinking about 10 things on their list that they're trying to achieve, and you're buying it from them thinking about 10 different things you're looking to
Right.
actually do your needs, and trying to find that point in the middle where
Mhm.
both of you you're winning and will continue to
Mhm.
at that point. Okay. So you brought it back up, and I was thinking about it from earlier when you were talking about like those repeat customers and those people that come back and do that. Because the name of your game at this point is quality and longevity. Longevity, like people coming back. Like,
Right.
oh,
Right.
last week for 3 months or 4 months or whatever.
Right.
You see that there was, and I know I'm taking us back a couple
Uh-huh.
topics, but did you see that, I don't know, certain types of hair people bought more often, even if it was quality?
Yes.
Like, how did you determine that medium between like, yeah, take it, it'll last you forever, but wait, come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Use your
That's so funny because there were many times where it's like you have the angel right here and the devil right here on your shoulders, somebody in
Mhm.
white, somebody in red. There was many times where I got hair in, well, once I finally found the vendor that I liked, we were locked in. And there was
Yeah.
many times where I was thinking like, let me just get the good hair. Let me turn the quality down a little bit because I don't want them. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest,
No, I
I don't
get
want
that.
them, but what I realized was, for one, word of mouth.
Mhm.
Keep in mind, we're talking 2011, 2012, 2013. Word of mouth
Mhm.
went a long way. And this looked like repeat customers that are now buying hair for others. They're not
Gotcha. Okay.
trusting, internet sales, especially when it's coming from social media. Nowadays,
Mhm.
people won't think twice because they saw an ad on Facebook or Instagram and they'll
Right.
click the link, put their credit card in. Baby, back then, and people was
Yeah.
like, I don't know that girl,
Right.
from Mississippi. Mississippi is known for catfish, you know?
Right.
So,
Really?
so I noticed a lot of people that kept ordering, but, I would do promotions. I would wanna know. So I would do promotions where it would be like, "Send me a picture of you flipping your hair or rocking Flip's hair and receive a promo code."
Yeah.
That way,
Hmm.
you're gonna send me the picture. Imma use it for advertising, but I
Mhm.
also wanted to know the story behind it. And a lot of times it will be people saying, I saw this on Instagram and I bought it and everybody asked me about my hair. So they would give me money and then I would buy it for them. And
Mhm.
then they would
Mhm.
start buying it. Okay. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I would do little pop ups and I would try to do little pop ups places where I would get the most sales from.
Right. Mhm.
So they could meet the face, face with the name or whatever. Or if I didn't really have the money to try to do a whole pop up or something like that, I would just try to be at very popular places.
Yeah.
So if there was something going on, Jack State Alcorn, football weekend, I'm there. My hair is
Mhm.
perfectly curled. I don't have a ticket to the game, but I'm walking around
Mhm.
tailgate with a Flips hair shirt on. So
Mhm.
that created, a little buzz. And then they wanted to try different things. So yeah, it's summertime. You want the baddest bob and you've ordered,
Right.
3 12-inch bundles. Okay, now it's fall, it's football season, tailgate season. You want long hair. So I was getting people that were ordering hair for different seasons
Mhm.
every other year because they still
Yeah.
have their fall hair, they still have their summer hair. So I would just kind of notice that. So it was like, okay, I want to keep having the quality. It's people out there, they're telling people, and for the record, I never dulled down the quality, but
Well,
it was tempting.
early in business ownership trying to
Right.
figure
I'm
Yeah,
telling you
no,
what people won't tell you. I'm giving you the secrets today.
that's I said exclusive. You hear
Right,
it here.
exclusive.
Yeah. Okay. So those you did all those things kind of in the beginning as you
Mhm,
were figuring out what your,
mhm.
niche was gonna be, how you were gonna approach it. What's changed? Like, over the 15 years you've been doing
Yes.
it, that was at the beginning of, like you said, social media kinda budding to
Yeah.
what it is now. How have you changed your outreach and marketing strategy? How
Mhm,
have you changed your approach to your business at
mhm.
this point? You're more established, your kids are growing,
Yes.
uh, the OG baby that was there when it all began, he's out the house and in college.
Right.
How have things changed in your approach to your business marketing-wise,
Yeah.
operationally?
Things have changed a lot. One thing, and again, we keep saying this is an exclusive. One thing that if I could go back and change, I would,
Yeah.
is I there was a lot of times I felt intimidated.
Okay.
Because for one, when I started Flip's hair, when V and I started V&A or Flip's hair, there wasn't
Yeah.
any other places in the state where you could get true raw virgin hair. It was
Yeah.
brand new. Now it's pretty much everywhere, you know? And also I used to sell in bulk to a lot of hairstylists, on
Okay.
like Friday nights, Thursday nights. I would go, and I'm not gonna name drop, but I would
Mhm.
go and I would drop, six, $700 worth of hair to this salon. I would drop, and I even had started a service for a brief period of time where
Mhm.
you get people that come in, they just need one bundle, they just need this and that, and I would come to you and I would just kind of have that. But now a lot of hairstylists have kind of done the research their own and they have it there, so
Mhm.
the demand has changed. The
Yeah.
market is crazy saturated, but
Mhm.
quality stands. And the
Yeah.
same decision that I chose to make years ago to, always offer the best, they're going to come back, kind of have some faith in God as well as yourself. That has
Mhm.
sustained that longevity. I have people, they have rocked with me from the beginning. And it's
Yeah.
so crazy because you see on social media all the time and it says, people, that don't know you will support you even more than people that do. This
Mhm.
is my shout out time, okay, Grace?
Okay. Alright.
Evansville, Indiana. I have never been to Evansville, Indiana in my life. They love
Okay,
me in
Indiana.
Evansville, Indiana. Bakersfield, California. I have never been to Baker. I don't know anybody in Bakersfield, California, but they have been rocking with me forever, you know?
Huh.
And when
Yeah.
I think about how far that is from Brandon, Mississippi, when I think
Yeah.
about the fact that I've never been there, those people don't know me, whatever, that says a lot. And I'm proud of that. Personally, I never wanted this to be a thing. If I'm being honest, Grace, in my
Mhm.
mind, about 5 years after after I started Flips, Dudley or Revlon, some big company was going to offer me a big old check, and I was going to sell it.
Yeah. Mhm.
that was
Yep.
that what was in my mind because I'm a corporate girly to the heart. I've always
Yeah.
wanted to be a corporate girly, and Flips
Mhm.
was just something that I truly prayed and said, Lord, show me a way that I can provide the lifestyle that I've always wanted,
Mhm.
regardless. And He did
Right.
that. And there have been many times where it was like, okay, I got my corporate job that I love so much. I got a handle on things, and I would be thinking of letting Flips go. And no lie, I would get an order from Evansville, Indiana, or
Yeah.
Bakersfield, California, or there's a lot of places in Mississippi that support as well. But some of those trusted people would place their order, and it's like, okay, I'm here. So I
Yeah.
have quieted down a little bit on social media just because personally there's a lot of things that drive the numbers up in social media that I'm
Mhm.
just not really about. I've always
Yeah.
just been about the hair. I've always been about feel good images that
Mhm.
make you feel like you're her. I've
Mhm.
always been an advocate for you being her. So
Yeah.
usually I'm going to always throw out a founders week sale, for all of
Yeah,
my
yeah.
Greek life. I'm
Mhm.
usually going to do a back to school something. I'm usually going to do something around the holidays because that's that time.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a hairstylist, I'm not going to do videos of me doing hair and stuff because I don't do hair.
Right.
I don't compete in that space. That's not for me.
Mhm.
I'm an everyday woman who wants to look good and wants to get the most out of her money, and that's what I do. I do plan on in the next year or so kind of revamping what Flips is doing and how Flips
Mhm.
looks and that approach. So, definitely something to tune into. So I'm excited about this. But Flips has always been a platform for women to get an understanding of what they're buying and the why behind it, knowing, this is the look you want and this is how you're going to achieve it. And making sure that you're getting that quality and will always be that.
Staying true to your brand and what you stand by is important.
Absolutely.
So, I think something else you said that was interesting. Right now, it's so funny. So much of what you're saying is, like, setting off bells in my head because it's relevant to what is being discussed right now,
Mhm.
like, as it relates to business and social media
Mhm.
and this, world of influencing and everything.
Yeah.
Even the types of thing like what I'm doing right now, like,
Yeah.
it impacts it speaks to so much of that. I think right now we are in a place where a lot of people a lot of people are like, you know, do what you gotta do. This
Mhm.
job can drop you, tomorrow, and you're not gonna have anything. You need to go all in on yourself.
Right.
You bet on yourself. This is what it needs to look like, blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah. And I think something that you spoke to that is very important for people to realize is that you're all in for something may look different. So for
Right.
you, it's balancing, your love for that corporate life, your love for
Mhm.
what you do with this passion that started off as something that was just like, "You know what? Let me just do what I gotta do to make sure that me and my kids are good,"
Right.
to where now it got to a point where it's providing for you. It is
Right.
pouring into the life that you said, you dreamt of and everything. And
Yeah.
so entrepreneurship and, taking ownership of your life
Mhm.
does not look like you have to quit and
Right.
jump.
And you know what, Grace? You make a very good point. And this is something that a lot of people don't touch on. When you start a business, especially if it's a business surrounding a popular industry like beauty or,
Yeah.
when you do that, it puts you in a different kind of element, right?
Mhm.
So, like when I started Flips, I've always kind of been a selfie girl and, it was cute, but I kind of had to keep that up
Yeah.
and wanting to make the most out of my hair being done and thinking about ways for free advertisement and promo. So okay, there's a big party this night, I gotta go here. You meet a lot of
Mhm.
people, you're on the scene. There's a lot of points where you get to choose who you want to be. There's
Yeah.
a lot of points where it's like, okay, um, this could give me a lot of exposure, a lot of this and that, but that's not really me, you know?
Right.
So you have to
Mhm.
make those hard decisions. Many, many times, I give a lot of shout outs to celebrities that gave me a chance.
Mhm.
SWV, Coco from SWV, I will
No.
always, and she knows it. I will always, she's just
Right.
the best, she's the
Yeah.
best. Selena Johnson, my soror, the best,
Mhm.
gave a
That's
little
great.
business a chance, loved the hair,
Yeah.
kept ordering, did what they could do to try to, get Flips into different contracts in this
And
for beauty. Like,
yeah.
and that for me, I was gracious for that because I didn't know what that world looked like, as far
Mhm.
as, supplying, a service or a product for a celebrity. But again, you get to choose who you want to be. Are
Yeah.
you a fan on a conference call discussing, the hair needs, or are you a professional? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or, when someone reaches out to you on social media, you get a DM and they're saying, "Hey, we're shooting this show or we're doing this and that. We need someone style this person." In styling that person and they tag you on those pictures, do you want your brand connected with what they're
Yeah.
doing on social media and
Mhm.
how volatile they can be? So a lot of
Yeah.
times I have to remind myself our money isn't good money.
Yeah.
And, I don't care what bill is due. I don't care what's going on. I have to sleep at night. And one thing
Mhm.
that I will not do is stress myself out chasing somebody else's dream. So
Yeah.
entrepreneurship has to look like what I need it to look like for me because it's going to
Yeah.
defeat the purpose. So what you said, like you said, what I did to you, it resonated with me because it just makes me remember so many different times where it was like, man, I could make a quick, 3 stacks, da, 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 but it's like, I can't stand her, or I would never want someone to think, because she could be wearing my hair and tag the picture and she butt naked doing something,
Yeah,
you know.
don't need.
Right.
Mhm.
So, and I don't know how my business would have flourished in these times, no shade,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I don't think that I was prepared for all of that back then. So
Mhm.
I'm thankful that, and I'm not speaking negatively because I truly believe Flips is on the way to another very popular
Yeah.
uptick. But at one
Mhm.
point, Flips was very, very popular and it was almost more than I could manage. And I did,
Yeah.
I had to bring in staff. I did a lot of things,
Mhm.
but a lot of that, if I had all of the influencers and all of just the stuff that content
Yeah.
creators and, podcasters such as yourself, all that y'all have to filter through, I don't know if it would have had the same
Had
impact
that
for me
impact
because
for me.
that's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, it would've burnt you out or
Yes, very quick.
intimidated you a little bit more than, what you were working with at the time.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Things are a lot busier, it's a lot more noise.
Hmm.
And like you said, a lot more of those you're gonna get those choices or those crossroads at any point,
Hmm.
whether it was 20 years ago or today, that, like you said, kinda help you to determine, like, "Okay, who am I trying to be?
Right.
What am I where's my line?
Hmm.
What am I working with?" You're always gonna have those, but I think now the boundaries we're in a world now where boundaries get pushed every single
Yes.
day in every which
Every day.
direction. It's like it keeps getting moved
Hmm.
further back. So you still have to, probably even more so today, be like, "No,
Right.
this is where I am. This is what I'm doing, and whoever those folks are, they're out there in the world. They're gonna find me, and I'm gonna
Right.
make sure I."
Exactly.
Yeah. So what, like, let's talk a little bit more logistic.
Hmm.
Eh, What does it take for you to actually do what you do? So we know you have the suppliers
Hmm.
that you're working with that actually supply the hair.
Hmm.
Excuse me, and then we know obviously that you sell it.
Hmm.
But from the point that you're like, "Okay, I need to make an order to
Hmm.
do what does it take? What are those elements to actually get from nothing to making a sale? What does it take for you to actually do
Yeah.
that?"
So there's a lot of different factors. You have to make it make sense for you, but you also have
Mhm.
to stay true to your customers and their expectations. So you
Okay.
have a, delivery and shipping expectation. Personally, and like again, I'm from the school of business. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they, have people that do stuff for them or they're just kind of winging it. I like to pay attention to what's going on in the world. For
Okay.
instance, when down south we had this big ice storm or, we had a lot of icy weather that came through. I knew, okay, if I have some orders that are supposed to come in, let me go ahead and message them and let them know
Yeah.
there might be some delays. I have to think like a consumer. Also, I have to consider like, shipping costs and all of that, what that looks like. So I try to make sure I'm stocked up with hair that has traditionally been popular by seasons. Um
Mhm.
Now we're kind of heading into Bob season. If you've been seeing a
Yeah.
lot of posts talking about Robert, Robert is that good
Mhm.
Bob. So
Mhm.
a lot of shorter inches I'll try to at least keep in stock or make sure that my supplier is heavily stocked.
Yeah.
I had an incident where I used to keep a lot of hair on hand. I used to call it quick flips, where you
Mhm.
didn't have to wait to pre-order. It was just order on hand. But then things would get crazy, Grace. Like I've had people trying to rob me. I've had people, yes, I've been like set up where there's a car in front and a car behind, and I'm like,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So I don't really stock anymore. So
Yeah.
I make sure that my customers are aware of, what do you have coming up? These are your shipping times. My vendors as well. So I can try to fill orders as fast as possible. I also try
Mhm.
to make a buffer for life. I have a lot of customers who will say, "Oh my gosh, I haven't updated my PayPal. It's a wrong address. Here's my new one." So a lot of times, you have people who they want their emergency to be my emergency, and they need hair in 2 days. I'm sorry, if it's not in stock, you gotta wait. But then you have that
Yeah.
one person who's been, saving to buy hair for 2 or 3 months for this big occasion, she places her order and she forgets that her mailing address isn't updated. I'm trying to think about all of that, making it make sense. So, I usually have regular calls with I almost said provider, with my, supplier, pretty regularly. We'll
Girl.
we'll we'll place the order. When it comes in, I do go through a process of making sure I'm checking the order, making sure that it's the quality that I do anticipate. If there are times that I feel like my supplier, something is off, I reach out to my customer first. I want them to know this is a very personable experience. I want them to know, personally, I would question this, if you
Mhm,
are, cool with it, I will go ahead and send it out. Do you have an event that's coming up? Blah, blah, blah. If you can wait, let me redo this for you. I
Mhm.
still believe in good service. I know that Flip's hair's price point is a little bit elevated than when you would go to the hair shop or get on Amazon and look at highly rated bundles or whatever. So for
mhm.
that, it's not just hair that's going to last over a year or two. It's also updated order information. It's also me being transparent and saying, "Hey, this is in Flip's quality. I don't know what they got going on. Let me make
Yeah,
this
yeah.
right." Or, "Okay, you have an event that you absolutely need. Imma ship this out today, but your replacement bundle is coming." I offer that
Yeah.
type of service. So that's what it looks like. So again, I've kind of replaced the late night Skype calls with a couple of FaceTimes throughout, a couple of emails. Our shipping has gotten a little updated, so that helps me out. I feel like my OG baby probably still knows how to package hair, because he was in the trenches with me with the leave-in
Yeah.
conditioner and all of that. But yeah, we have kind of upgraded our processes. But yeah, that's what it looks like. Very personable service. My hands touch every single bundle. If I have like Black Friday sales and all of that, sometimes I will set aside time, and in my office is hair everywhere, but I'm touching every bundle. I'm thinking about that first look.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Mhm.
about that first look. You've been waiting, you've been tracking, your order has
Yeah.
arrived, you peel back that pink packaging, you like, "Oh," that's what I'm thinking about.
Alright. So you're all right, let me see if I can categorize this. Let me see
Mhm.
if I can bullet it out. So, ultimately, customer service is the name of the game
Yes.
for you
Mhm.
because that generates, of course, return buyers,
Mhm.
initial buyers,
Mhm.
all of that. Also, it sounds like you do a pretty thorough evaluation of the demands
Mhm.
of either the industry itself,
Mhm.
what's going on just in the world right now, as well as just knowing your
Mhm.
customers and adjusting your tactics or
Right.
the way that you move to be able to serve them better and
Mhm.
ultimately make a sale and help your business.
Right.
And then, of course, that requires for you to be consistent with your communication and your methods
Right.
with your suppliers. You got to be doing it now. Your supplier, so that you can understand what's going on,
Mhm.
continuously provide good quality product
Right.
at that point, and you're selling not just a bundle, you're selling a feeling.
Right.
You're selling,
Absolutely.
like, the moment it gets done, that perfect curl that you talked about earlier,
Yes.
like, that's
Yes.
it. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
I don't think
what
about it just like hair, like, "Oh, my appointment is 4, let me run and get some hair." I'm thinking
yeah,
about it like, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to wear this dress, but I gotta find the perfect shoes." These bundles
yeah.
are those perfect shoes. Once they are
Mhm.
delivered, when you open that box, you're like, "Oh, this is." Yes, that's what I'm going for.
So you do your own packaging and stuff right
I
now? Like, we
do.
don't have to go too deeply into it, but,
Mhm.
what does that look like? Just, like, high level steps for you to actually
Well,
get through and then package it up and then
yeah, I do that look over depending on the amount. Sometimes, like I said, I have people that, they're ordering. I have this one customer, I love her to death. She has like 3 or 4 daughters and prom season and,
Mhm,
homecoming and stuff. She's getting
mhm,
big orders. So sometimes I'll box it. If it's a repeat customer, and especially if I'm really big on, well, not as big as I used to be. I got to get better, guys. I know it. But on my
mhm,
social media, so if I recognize of somebody's name and I kind of know know that they're getting ready for something. If I have a t-shirt around here or something like that, I'll throw that in there. I like to like just kind of do little stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I package it up. Sometimes I'll print labels and get it done, especially if I got multiple orders. But
Mhm.
honestly, Grace, and maybe I'm just old school, I like still handwritten label. I
Yeah.
really do. If I have a week that maybe I've only gotten a couple of orders and I got time, it will still be a handwritten label. So I'm looking at that address, I'm making sure it's right. And you know that this wasn't something that I've ordered from someone else to fill your order. This is something that
Yeah.
I've ordered for you along with inventory that I have
Mhm.
selected, picked out, packaged it for you, and sending it right home to
Personally
you.
cut
Yeah.
to make sure it's quality, all
Yes.
of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Alright, so how do you manage right now? Like, what do you utilize to manage tracking your sales and, tracking things, your customers, all of those
Yeah.
things? What
Yeah.
what types of tools and stuff are you using?
Well, my hosting website, of course, has a lot of things on there that I don't know a lot about, but luckily I have a frat brother that is that is all things webmaster and programmer and developer, and I
I
have
need
that, and I also have that linked to some software that assists me more on the financial side.
okay.
That was something that I had to
Yeah.
learn the hard way. As an
Mhm.
entrepreneur,
Or
trial and error was big for me. I will never forget. Flips is about maybe 4 or 5 years old, and I'm making money, and I'm, doing all these things, and I get hit with a letter from the IRS.
Yup,
And them
yup.
people, they try to stick me for my paper. Do you hear me? Had
Mhm.
me up for 24 hours just pacing the
Yeah,
floor.
don't play.
And I went to a friend of mine, and her mom connected me with an accountant, and she was like me, pen and
Mm,
paper, old school accountant. And not only did she help me get myself together as far as
yeah,
that tax bill, and am this is what I try to teach young people when I do like mentorship things. There is value in the patience of spending time with older
mhm,
people.
yeah,
I know everything nowadays is so fast paced. Everything is so AI. Just ask a question, you can get your answer. But there is so much value in the art of learning. So
yeah.
me all frantic, here's the tax bill. They say I owe $43,000.
Ooh,
It was big.
ooh,
um and instead of her just, okay, I can pay you whatever the fee, figure it out. No, let me show you what you did. Let me show you what all of this means. And I was so annoyed. I was like, just do it. But she
yeah.
taught me, and I ended up getting the check from them. Huh. I ended up
Wow.
having money on the table. But
Mhm,
now I see the importance of knowing tax laws. I see the
yeah,
importance of local elections, national elections, understanding what a lot of these things are meaning for me as an employee, but also
mhm,
me as an entrepreneur.
yeah,
So that was big for me. So even when I'm like packaging orders, even when I'm like looking at different things to offer my customers as far as customer experience, I'm also having to be mindful of what this looks like on the business side. Maybe this is something that seems a little expensive to invest in as far as marketing or as far
mhm,
as shipping materials, but
mhm,
knowing tax information and knowing what you can do as a business owner helps you make those decisions, and it also helps your customers. It helps you be able to do things for them. So there was a
I
lot
know.
of trial and error that I've done. There's a lot of things that if I could go back I would change, but there's also a lot of things that I'm glad I took the long way, because
Mhm,
I can pivot a little bit better now that things are
right.
so much different nowadays.
Makes total sense. So, alright, so you spoke to a couple of things that I think you will
I
use to answer.
ramble. You can say
No, 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 no,
it.
no, it's not even that. It's just I was as you were talking, I'm listening,
Mhm.
and I'm like, "Ooh, okay," so I have to kinda write things down because 'cause it'll fly right out of my head, as far as what I wanna ask you, but you've mentioned a couple of things that you said you would caution or that you
Mhm.
would recommend to young people, young
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, or whatever. So we're gonna do it this way. What are 3 things
Mhm.
that you would recommend to someone, whether it's in hair or otherwise, a budding entrepreneur, someone
Mhm.
who's starting off, someone who wants to balance
Mhm.
the corporate life with the entrepreneurial spirit? what are 3 things that you would recommend?
The first thing I would say would be do your work. A lot of people say do the work, but I'm gonna say do your work. There's a lot of times where people have came to me and said, I want to sell hair too. What I need to do? I can't give you that. You know, my reason might not be your reason. You need to know your reason why. It might not be selling hair, it might not be a service, it could be a product, but you need
Mhm.
to know your reason why. Because if you're
Yeah.
not locked into that why, there's you're going to get thrown off. You're
Yeah.
going to get thrown off. There's so many things that either we don't consider or things that have a bigger impact than anticipated that can throw you off. And so
Mhm.
knowing your why is important, but also knowing your how. I could give you the keys to the castle, but they might not
Yeah.
work for you. You know?
Right.
So it's
Mhm.
important to take that excitement, that initial momentum when you decide, I'm going to do this, and put that into just learning, researching, asking foundation questions, not
Yeah.
the end questions. How did you do that?
Mhm.
Ask
Mhm.
somebody else their why, or ask someone else, where's a good place to research this or ask these questions, because
Mhm.
how they did it might be awesome for them, but that might not be for you. That might
Right.
not be the path that's going to unlock the door for you. So I would say do your work. Secondly, I would say to invest in your confidence. Invest in your confidence in what you want to do. Of course, investing in your business is a great thing, but invest in your confidence. I would say that that was a key thing for me, was investing in my confidence. It didn't cost me any money to go to places where I knew people would be, even if whether it
Yeah.
was a club, a party, maybe it was a popular restaurant, but taking the extra time to do my hair and make sure it looked good, or telling V, hey V, we need to get suited and booted. That's what we used to say. We
Mhm.
need to get suited and booted and go to this party or go here and there. Take some pictures, be seen, because
Mhm.
that word of mouth is something,
Yeah.
because again, I wasn't a celebrity. I wasn't super, super popular. I was just someone that people knew who had pretty hair. So if you see me out at a really popular bar, you're like, dog, her hair is really pretty. Like I see it
Mhm.
moving and stuff. So invest in your confidence. So whatever type of business that you're wanting to start, whatever type of initiative that is pulling at you, invest in something that will keep you motivated and confident to pursue it. If
Yeah.
you're wanting to write a book, whatever gets you excited about writing, invest in that. If it's a new desk, if it's a new computer, whatever's going to keep you engaged in it, invest in that. Um, I'ma say the third thing, it's gotta be good because it's the last
Yeah.
one.
I mean, we listen, the first 2 are good,
Okay, but this
so
one, well, that puts more pressure on the third one, Grace. Um, I would say, the third thing, and this is just my keys for everything.
Mhm.
Always remember how you felt the first time it worked out. So
Oh,
whether that's the very first order from somebody you didn't know, whether it was the very first time someone, utilized your service or patronize your business or whatever, remember how it felt that very first time. When you're frustrated, when you're doing amazingly well, remember how it felt the very first time it worked out.
I was just watching, there's a lady, I cannot remember the name of her brand, but she sells, purses.
Mhm,
She, creates and crafts these purses, and she won some kind of an opportunity in her business for, them to basically try and get her marketing business and stuff like that out there more.
mhm,
And so she said she sent the stuff out to Beyonce's team.
mm,
Beyonce's team said, "Hey, uh, we want a smaller version of this bag." So she had to do what she needed to do to get a smaller version of that specific bag. They wanted it to be like a
mhm.
crossbody, whatever. And so she does all that. They send it off. Doesn't hear anything. Right? It's like, did y'all even get it? Like, but
Right.
what you gonna do? Bug Beyonce's team? Whatever. So she goes through all of that. She said she had a day where she was really, really like just bogged down. And this speaks to something you said earlier too. She had a whole bunch of orders, but it was so much work. It was so
Yes.
much work. She was tired. Like
Mhm.
she really was going through it, and she said something to the guy when she was dropping off the packaging and was like, I'm just so tired,
Mhm.
whatever. He's like, look at all this, how many
Right.
orders you have, blah, blah, blah. And she's struggling, right?
Mhm.
Just wanted to go home and take a nap. Says she woke up from that nap, looked at her Instagram, and it's blowing up, and it's because Beyoncé had just posted a picture wearing her bag.
Wow.
And so that I mean, she said, I think they had like $100,000 day that week, like that or that day. They
Yeah.
immediately, their sales went up, all of those
Yep.
things. And that was part of what kind of propelled her forward going from that point. I mean, she obviously was seeing some success, but to your point, remembering your why, or even
Yeah.
for her, it's just that first time
Mhm.
of a Beyonce. I mean, like, come on now. The
Right.
celebrities,
Exactly.
like for her, like that's the first time you feel or another time that she felt like this extreme validation in her craft and
Yeah.
what she was doing and what she was passionate about, and how that's gonna propel her forward,
Yeah.
moving on with her business. So, like I said, I mean,
Absolutely.
dropping gems, Lillian.
But
I'm
it's
so
it's
excited.
awesome. It's awesome because, I never thought, like I said, I never wanted this to be something super, super long term. I just wanted to make some money, get some hair on the side, and it's turned into something that has fostered so many relationships that it's
Yeah.
crazy. I see females all the time now, and they're like, "You're flips," and I'm like, "Excuse me," but but
What'd you
I'm
call
like, "Who?"
me?
But I didn't think about it like that. Flips has
Yeah.
always just kind of, been a part. My
Mhm.
boys, and this is something this was like a side effect. My boys, I mean, they're great. Like my oldest is 19. He's at Southern Miss to the top. And then I have an
Mhm.
11-year-old, I have a 6-year-old, and females, y'all got to come correct with y'all hair around my
'Cause they
kids.
know.
They know it.
They know.
Uh,
Mhm.
but it's something that has taught me patience. It has something
Mhm.
that has helped me understand the power of no. There
Mhm.
are sometimes all money isn't good money. If you would have told me
Yeah.
4 gems, that would have been my fourth. All money isn't
Okay.
good money. You know,
Okay.
don't let anyone, stress you out. Don't let anyone make you feel devalued.
Mhm.
People walk into Coach, Ralph Lauren, they walk into all those and they don't ask for a discount, so
Yeah.
we not doing that.
Mhm.
Have confidence in
Okay.
yourself, but also have confidence in your brand, and
Yeah.
make sure you're representing your brand in the best way. If someone was to approach you and say, I want to take you out on a date, but we can only go to a fast food restaurant. It's like, who are you talking to? Nothing against fast food, but we're not starting out like that. Right. We're not starting out like
Oh,
that.
okay.
So it's the same thing with flips. Like, I have told people, oh, I'm sorry, you probably need to visit your local hair store if that's what you're looking
Yeah.
for. I mean,
Period.
your hair is too
Yeah.
expensive, blah, blah. I am so sorry. When you're ready, you let me know. We'll be
Yep.
here,
Mhm.
and it might sound condescending, but I know what I'm offering. I know
Yeah.
what, has kept me up at night. I know how I, barter in between. Y'all don't see it. I see the hair that gets sent back, or I see
Yeah.
the hair that is sent that I throw away, because
Mhm.
because you have suppliers that go through the same things. You have
Yeah.
suppliers that are like, hey, I'm ready to start a family. I'm going to be leaving this. This is not for me. I remember when my very first supplier got married.
Mhm.
It was me and her, and it was a very, very small company that worked with these temples. So this was something that was huge. Like this wasn't even going
Mhm.
through a big company, but she was getting married and they were not going to have this business anymore. And I was just like, how could you do this to me? I think at that point it was like 6 years been working together.
Yeah.
And I had to realize this is my life, this is their life. We gotta start over,
Mhm.
we gotta pivot. So it went back to the drawing board, trying to find the same quality hair or asking for these connections and everything. But that's what you do when you know that your brand has a reputation. And you have to find a way to live up to that, or you have to find a way to pivot and say, hey, Flips is changing. This is what
Yeah.
we're doing. Here's what you can expect. And just kind of being transparent in a way that still gives confidence to your clients,
Right.
but it
Mhm.
also shows your business the respect that you've taught your business to deserve or to accept. You have to
Yeah.
respect the brand that you are creating too. It's just like a child, you know.
Mhm.
You love on your child, that's your baby, but as that child grows, there's a certain discipline, there's a certain expectation. You need your child to understand this is who we are. This is what we
Mhm.
believe and this is, what we want to represent. It's the same way
Right.
with your brand. As,
Yeah.
your vendor or your suppliers change, as needs change, as the markets change, you got to have that come to Jesus meeting with yourself as a business owner, but you got to have it
Mhm.
with your brand too. It's like, okay, Flips,
Yeah.
we the baddest. We got to figure this out. Do we want to sell wigs now? I've dipped into everything. I've done clip-in extensions, took those off the menu. I've done, I've done a lot of different things. Okay, we're not doing that no more. So you have that conversation with your brand too. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's just like an affirmation. It's just like a self-talk. It's just like saying, okay,
Mhm.
Flips, this is who we are. We're going to get back to this, and this is how we're going to do it. So that's important. And like I said, for an entrepreneur or someone who's just wanting to take their profession to the next level, it comes,
Mhm.
you have to get uncomfortable to grow. So that comes with
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of like changes and growth and
it.
everything is in the industry and how things go from there for businesses, are there any trends that you think you see becoming more popular or something that may impact your business negatively or
Mhm,
positively, whatever, or something that you'll have to adjust to, or that other people in similar lanes
mhm.
can pay over the next like 3 to 5 years, just based off of what you're seeing right
Oh,
now.
you're gonna get me in trouble.
What?
People not taking care of their hair no more.
Ah,
The edges is ate up. Um,
mm,
wigs, I mean, wigs are big. Wigs are big.
yeah.
Wigs are plentiful. You can get a good $80 wig on Amazon. It lasts you
Mhm,
maybe a month.
mhm,
But the convenience of it all is something that
yeah.
is impacting a lot. But I feel like that's not my customer base.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's fine. I have I've had friends or I had people that I've known in the past, they'll see me out and they'll avoid me because they got on, maybe a wig they ordered off of Amazon or something. I'm like, girl, I'm not her. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm not her. I'm not expecting you to wear your red bottoms to Kroger. You know what I'm saying? You can save me for a special occasion. It's cool.
Serious.
It's cool. Um,
Yeah.
but those trends are something that I just kind of pay attention to, or sometimes I shop around too, and I'm like, ooh, it's cheap out
Mhm,
here. But
mhm,
I get the quality and everything too. I feel like Flips is a classic. I feel like when you want to go back to, a sew-in where you have access to these luxurious locks or to this certain
mhm,
style all the time, you're going to think about Flips. I feel like when you have that special occasion or when you are
mhm.
wanting to get that custom wig made and make that investment where you're going to have this wig for 4 or 5 years, you're going to think about Flips. So,
Yeah.
um, there's always going to be competition. There's always going to be something to worry about. There's
Yeah.
always going to be
Right.
something to worry about. So I choose to be intentional about looking for the opportunity or just knowing the opportunity is there. And even if times where, sometimes you just have a negative day, sometimes it's just on you. So those times are the times that I reflect on how far Flips has come.
Yeah.
So there's always a positive somewhere.
Yeah. For sure. Okay. Okay.
I
I'm
just love
excited.
you, Grace. You're the best.
Oh, ditto. That's why I was like, I gotta get her on here when we started talking. I've never really been a weave sew
Mhm,
in girl, even when I had my fro and stuff, and
mhm,
I have locks now.
mhm.
But you make me wanna buy some hair now. I wanna touch it. I wanna come out. You
Flip
know,
the bottle.
I wanna flip mine, you know.
Well, you know what? Speaking of that, I did
Right.
want can I drop something really quick?
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
I do have a little promo code that I have
Yeah.
created just
Okay.
for the Boardroom Podcast.
Love
So,
that.
and this is not going anywhere but here. So if someone uses
Oh,
this promo code, I know.
mean exclusive after
Exclusive, yes.
exclusive after
So
exclusive.
the promo code is BRP20. So
Okay.
BRP20 will get you, what is it, $20? I think it's $20 off your order. So even if
Okay.
you want to buy one bundle to try it out, there's $20 off of that. So that's just for those that are listening to this amazing podcast, getting exposed to all this amazing Black excellence as a thank you to
Yes.
you for having me on the Boardroom Podcast, BRP20, on flipshair.shop.
All right. Flipshair.shop.
Yes, ma'am.
We're definitely going to point all the girlies that way for good quality hair
Yes, ma'am.
for that special occasion, day to day,
Yes,
for you to
ma'am.
just be that girl, for you to feel like that girl.
Yes, because Grace, I'm gonna be totally transparent. You know me, I'm transparent. I've been to the gym this morning, had a little bowl of some protein, had to take a
Mhm.
shower, and I was like, I gotta do the Boardroom Podcast. So this, this Indian deep curly is really just kind of giving right now.
And it looks so natural on you too. Like
Yeah.
it looks like scouts,
That's what
giving
I'm saying.
scouts.
I'm bringing back the sew in so I can be cute all the time, honey.
Yeah, yeah.
You're so silly. I appreciate you though. This was great. You're amazing.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you joined. Like I said, I like no, I'm not hyping it up. Like seriously, I feel like there's so much good information that has come out of this that's not just super specific because I've learned a lot just about the
Hmm.
hair industry, like your lane, because I don't know a ton about it. So I've learned a lot about that, but also things that translate to motherhood, that translate to entrepreneurship, that translate to just being your day-to-day 9 to 5 professional,
Yeah.
how to balance all of those things, perseverance, the ability to be versatile and to pivot in life and in business. Like there's so much that's come out from just this little hour and 4 minutes that we've been on that I feel like is just so rich and is going to touch so many people. And like I said, I've learned a whole lot in this time as well. So I'm
Awesome.
very, very appreciative. That's really what this platform is about, bringing that perspective, that knowledge, that expertise so that people can take it and apply it and learn from it and grow from it. So I appreciate you taking your Saturday morning at 11, even though you've done 50 things
I
already
know,
by
right?
now.
I know my
Taking this
kids are like
time to
around the
be
corner, like, is it done? Is it done? I made it the whole house be quiet just for you, Grace. That never happens on a Saturday.
appreciate with boys. I can only
They
imagine.
itching, girl.
Well, I'll let you get back to your babies, but thank you so much, Lillian. I'm sure we'll be talking again in this medium at some other point, I'm sure.
Yes, ma'am.